recently we partnered with Bareback Biltong Beef Jerky.
Head to the Bareback Biltong website and use code AOF15 for 15% off all beef jerky products. Now, Flats, let's get into the podcast, mate. Welcome back to the podcast.
How long has it been, you reckon?
It's been quite a while, mate, and that's no fault to your own. It's not no fault to your own. There's been major things on, and one of the major things on has been Ascot races, mate. And I know you're a huge racing fan, so just give me the rundown.
Well,
of how the Australian horses went, mate.
It was a tough week for Australian horses. Colin Gutty started us off with a horrible.
J-Mac Vault.
It wasn't even a bad ride. It was just it's not the horse that we thought it was, really. And Cannonball in the same race had nothing. It was just lurking, but it couldn't have that turn of foot that everyone was looking for. And Artorias, the last day of the Royal Ascot races. Did you watch that?
I didn't watch that. It was like 2 a.m, wasn't it? You stay up?
No, I did not. I just watched the replay. Artorias, it was a good ride, but came fourth. Right. I think they're looking to move Artorias to the studs now. So.
Yeah, we are using the on the drift setup again. So thanks to those boys. And I had a go on their what was it called? The $100 method.
Drifter of the week.
And I did Opal Ridge for the Tats Tierra, and Taylor Schiller butched it.
Well, to be fair, it was one tough Group 1 race.
It was a tough Group 1, and and I said in my little spiel that there was more selection question marks than the New South Wales team, mate. So
that's it.
Tough week.
30 to 1 that won it. What was the name of it? I'm not even going to try and say it.
Yeah, I can't even remember. It started with a P.
Yeah.
That's how casual we are, mate. NRL fantasy wise, we had a decent week here for All Out, even though we captained Payne Haas, who got 51. We scored 933 points. And Fafita went off with a try. Moses went off. Hopgood all scoring. Drinkwater had an absolute stellar game on the second last game on the Sunday there. And Corey Horsburgh, your man Flats, got 86 points.
I come up against him this week and I didn't have him, so I was really annoyed.
And we also brought in Jack Cogger, who, if you watched the game, lit up for the Penrith Panthers. He scored 70 points. So some pretty good scores all around, mate. And we'll get to the team list soon. We'll just have a crack on the tipping here as well. And there's constantly people joining the tipping comp, mate. And we'll see what it's at now. It's at 3,572.
It's crazy.
It's actually huge numbers. And Robert Bradley hoops with 94 tips, impressively. He's taken the reins over Bones Broncos this week, who slips to fourth, who always get to mention. And we didn't get a DM response from Bones Broncos, so we don't know if he actually knows if he gets a mention. Yeah, could be a she.
Exactly.
Yeah, we never know. What else are we cracking on here, Flats, to start off the podcast?
Well, we should have a little crack at the team list.
Yeah, of course, the team list.
After a big bye week, because the Panthers last week rested their whole team. And
coming off Origin,
thankfully they're not doing that again, because it costed me.
Well, the Sharks play the Dragons after they come off a bye, and I think last week a lot of people were actually a bit stumped, mate, because we told people to bring in Isaiah Papali'i, Bateman, Nikora, all these Sharks and Tigers players who had the bye last week. So you take your damage last week, and we move on.
Yeah.
Sharks skipper Nico Hines is a good captaincy option this week for sure. He versus the Dragons, who look, it's just a club going up in storm, mate, isn't it?
I reckon this is the perfect week to get Nico Hines in at 900k. It's probably the lowest he'll be this whole year, and I don't think he'll play Origin 3. So set and forget with him. Get him.
Absolutely, mate. And look, there's a bit of contentious one here about Jack Bird, who's a popular centre option. He's been actually ruled out, Jack Bird. So he is gone for those that picked him up last week, which is a really disappointing for those who got him in last week. Moving on to the Warriors and the Rabbitohs. The Warriors were absolutely brilliant last week, mate. DWZ, 4 tries.
That was some watch.
And he's been well backed up there by Sean Johnson. And if you picked him up at like 500k at the start of the year, you're absolutely laughing. Because he's now, over 900k, is he?
Just quietly. Dallin Watesny-Zelezniak is the best winger in the NRL.
Wow, that's a big call, man.
He's
Considering the
he's having a career years because he's already got the most tries he's ever gotten in a season, and it's round 18.
yeah.
Man's been special.
For the Rabbits, Latrell Mitchell's not back till round 21. For those that saw that news, so Blake Taff, he's still going to be making cash, but I wouldn't get him in because historically he just hasn't scored well. So I think that's a bit of a void. Good news for the Storm. Flats Cameron Munster returns after being rested last week.
Yeah, they say he had a bit of a flu-like symptoms, but it was more, I reckon, the Wednesday night alcohol beverages.
Oh yeah, he was rested after a big night.
Yeah.
Also, Zach Hosking for the Panthers, who the Storm play on Friday night, he's been dropped, so he is now a sell if you didn't sell him already. And Jack Cogger is still making cash at 500k there, so he is.
He just keeps chipping away, doesn't he?
He's really.
I think he's got 70 the past 2 weeks. It's just like you wouldn't expect that from the big old Cogger from the Knights.
He's a really good player. Corey Horsburgh reached out to new heights with a dazzling 86. We mentioned. So he's still very underpriced, I reckon. 794. He's playing 80 minutes.
Look, he's an absolute beast fantasy-wise, but I just can't stand watching him. So
we move.
Yeah.
The Bronx, mate. As a Broncos fan yourself, what happened on the weekend with the Titans?
We just didn't show up really. Like, our defence was poor as in the first half. We improved on from there, but it was just too late. A little too late, really.
And moving on for the Cowboys, Tamalolo's been listed as 18th man. He had a hamstring complaint there, so he's going to be one for coaches if you have him to either hold, I presume, with that one. And Dane Laurie for the Tigers is now the new 5'8".
That's interesting.
So, mate, they just keep going in different directions every week.
That actually could work.
Yeah. Moving on, mate. The Bronx. And the big news out of the Broncos camp, mate, is not Ben Hunt. It's actually Reece Walsh. So he's been named, but by the time this is out, the ruling on Reece Walsh would have been decided because he's at the judiciary for a bit of bad language, mate.
Yeah, I've read it. I saw the head of the article, and I thought it was something to do with Origin when he got sent off, but it turns out it was for him having to go against the coach on Sunday.
The referee.
The referee, not the coach.
And if I was a betting man, I'd say he gets suspended. I honestly think. I watched the video back and
What did he actually say?
I don't know what he said.
We'll bleep it out, of course.
No. I don't actually know what he said, but the way that he was looking, it just looked at the referee.
Was this the final play?
Plain and simple.
We nearly scored a try.
Yeah, something like that. And it was at the back end of the game, but I wouldn't be surprised if he misses a couple of weeks. And does that make him a sell? Probably. He got 5 on the weekend.
After the comments on the weekend, look, I was planning on holding him for the rest of the season, but geez, that hurt him. Yeah,
it did. And for the Dolphins, pal, like the cheapies, there's always going to be cheapies with the Dolphins with their depth, but both Braden McGrady and Harrison Graham have been dropped out of the squad with Tessie New returning and JMK. So if you hold JMK, you're laughing. And Sean O'Sullivan, who was quite good before he got injured, gets the 7 jersey back. And unfortunately for Cody Nikorima owners, he has to depart with being put on the bench. And he's on the bench. Katoa got his spot still. And what I believe is second last game, the Dogs, Kyle Olawapu, should I say, has been dropped. So he is now a sell that we've got there, mate. And the Knights, Ponga had an absolute stinker on the weekend and he still scored and only got 17.
Yeah, it was not a good game for him. Do we know any news on Harrison Edwards?
Harrison Edwards is on the bench. So if you kept him around, he's probably a hold. He's not an urgent sell, so I'd be keeping him around. And the big news out of the Knights camp, and we told everyone last week, is that Dylan Lucas is out of the squad. So if you picked him up, you're crying. But we did warn everyone that he's going to be dropped. And the last game, the Seagulls versus the Roosters, Ruby Garrick still got the number 1 jersey, which is good news for him. And not much else to report except for this diabolical Roosters team this week. Sandon Smith has kept his spot, which is good news for him. And Jakey Turpin is not injured, so he will suit up this weekend, which is good news.
Yeah, good news for a lot of fantasy owners. That.
Mate, you got a few buy holds and sells
Yeah.
that you've picked out.
After this crucial last weekend of footy, rested players, a few injuries, but we did win Origin, so it makes up for everything. We do have a few buy hold and sells. The one buy we have this week is Sean Blaw. He's going to be starting second rower for the Tigers, and he's a bit of a PPM animal.
I think yeah.
Or he might be in the middle actually.
Yeah, he's in the middle.
And
You're right. No, you're right. He's starting on the edge, and I think it was a couple of weeks ago he got a nice 17 bomb.
Anyhow, he's a PPM beast, and he's still cheap as chips. So we have, as we just mentioned, Cody Nikorima on the bench. He'll get not enough minutes to score well, so I would offload him. And Hosking, he's also on the bench surprisingly.
Hosking's been dropped completely. He's gone.
Has he?
18th man, yeah.
That's really surprising because he was in for a breakout year.
Yeah,
this is his breakout year, really. But
yeah, so he's gone.
Yeah, he's a definite sell as well then. Holds, Teddy and Ponga, they're in the same boat. Didn't score too well, but they are keepers in the long run. And Walsh is a hold now, but it could be, by tomorrow, could be a sell.
Yeah, so
see what he gets from the judiciary. Yeah,
definitely have a look at I'm sure it'll be all over the pages there about Reece Walsh and what his situation is. One that you haven't said there, Flats, and he got rested last week, and we were telling everyone to buy him, was Liam Martin. He's got the starting second row job this week, and I'm looking at the bench here, and it's hard to say who he's going to come off for.
Yeah, I was looking at him before, and he averages just around 60 when he plays over 60 minutes. So. And he's almost definitely going to play over 60 minutes with no Hosking on the bench. So he's definitely an option to pick up on the edge. Yeah, for sure.
We put to all out. I put to all out, asking for a few multis. Flats. I'm sure you have your own one as well. But we got some multis in here from the listeners, so we may as well read some of them out. Jaden here's gone Broncos 1-12. Who's Broncos playing? Who do we say the Broncos are playing? Dolphins. So Broncos 1-12, Cows 13 plus, and Sharks 13 plus is playing $9 there. So 13 plus against the Drags for the Sharkies, Cows 13 plus against the Tigers, and Broncos 1-12 against the Finns. Do you see that going 1-12?
Sadly, not after last weekend Dolphins performance. That was one of the more shocking performances I've seen this year. What was it? 42 points in the first half. I thought they were going to crack 80.
It wasn't pretty as a fan, but we move. Max here has Jakey Turbo anytime and Manly 13 plus against the Roosters. But you took the Raiders 13 plus in our syndicate, didn't you?
I was thinking about it, but I just went Raiders head to head. But we missed out on a Daniel Tupou try, sadly, so we didn't hit it.
And I like this multi from Charlie here. This will be the last one against the Rabbits. Warriors to take the dub and DWZ anytime, $2.40.
I like it. I was
like
just looking
it a lot.
Their Warriors $1.70 against the Rabbitohs without Latrell Mitt is Matic value.
Is serious Matic value. Do you have your own as well, mate? Or yeah?
No, not yet. I'm gonna wait until.
Gotta have to wait.
Wait until Walsh gets cleared.
True.
Because he's always my multi.
We'll crack on with the Q&A, mate, for this week, and only the 11 questions this week, because I'm pretty sure we posted it at like 3 a.m. in the morning, but we move. Lachlan Agnew says, hi, I follow you guys for fantasy advice, not for travel vlogs for some bloke I don't even know. Please stick to what you're good at, says Agnew.
Maybe he's lurking for a block here, this bloke.
Yeah, mate. Hey, hang on. Shout out to Quinny. Not Quinny, Quino. Did you see that story?
Quino?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you know the backstory or not, but the third captaincy option in our captain's corner.
Oh yeah, Quino. That's a good shout out.
For Isaiah Yo and Quino. I hope you're watching, mate, because we gave him 2 chances. We gave him Moses and Hop. He said Moses and Hopgood, and if they both didn't bang, then he's getting blocked.
They both banged.
They both banged.
Proper.
Serious work from Quino. Hopgood with 70, Moses 82.
They were both on 50 at half time. I couldn't believe it.
Mate, we might have to.
Quino's got an inside job here.
We might have to give Quino his own segment, honestly, and it might spark something else, Flats. If someone wants to message us on All Out and say this is who we think you should captain, and it doesn't bang, you get blocked.
Yeah, maybe
Simple as that. It's the high risk, high reward situation. You get a shout out, like Quino did, absolute legend, or yeah, you're done. Anyway, great stuff, Quino. Carter said, I'm presuming it's Carter, said advice for people who have no trades left.
Well, Dor could answer this brilliantly because he does this every year. He'd come down round 18 and you have no trades left. So, advice, just give up.
No, well, the good thing about
you do get extra trades.
You do.
Round 20, you get
round
4
20
extra trades.
Yeah, so just hold off till round 20, mate, and then you'll get 8 extra trades, and then, I mean, if you're struggling already, you might be a bit doomed. But Declan says here, is Bailey Simonson a potential buy? Can you get Simonson's stats up there, Flats, on your phone, and have a look while I answer the next question? What is David Fifita's break even? I can answer that while Flats gets that up.
Bailey Simonson. Look, at the price he's at now, I don't think he is a buy at 5.53. You're basically relying on him scoring doubles each week to get the good scores. So honestly, I would hold off on him and look elsewhere.
Yeah, agreed. What does David Fifita's be? It's 79. So David Fifita's an interesting one. It's quite a high break even, and he's cost at 8.52, and he scored 74 on the weekend and still went down a fair bit. So I'd still hold off, in my opinion, just that extra week.
Is there any news on his injury?
I thought he was fine. Is that the one where Carrigan?
Yeah, I know, but there could have been like a little.
Yeah, no, I think he's all good, and I'm not sure. I think MPH put in the chat this Savo if Carrigan got fined or not for that, but I'm actually not sure off the top of my head. But I think he should be fine. Ryan says Lemuelu, Granville, and Oloapu to Simkin, Asako, and the Hammer.
I like that.
You like it? Book it?
Book the trade.
Is Angus Crichton a buy now? No, he is not playing this week.
Honestly, stay away from
any Roosters player.
Any Roosters player. Unless you got Manu in the centres, which...
Oh, what a beast he was. Seriously. Should I sell Walsh as he has a high break-even and doesn't play end 19? Look, the situation with the wing fullbacks at the moment is dire. Like, there is hardly any wing fullbacks in the game that are consistently putting up 50, 60 scores each week. And like Flat said, if he gets whatever 2 weeks is it, or 3 weeks for this chat nonsense, then he's probably a sell. Yeah, he's probably a sell.
I thought we were only going to be looking at like a fine, but
he must have said something bad. Yeah. He must have said something bad, and that sort of language shouldn't be like promoted anyway within the game. So,
but he is a competitor.
Yeah, absolutely. Colin said not fantasy related, but do you fellas think that Joey Marnie should be play as a roaming centre like Tommy Turbo in Origin? Good question.
Did you say in Origin or Tommy T?
No. So he's asking, do you think Joey Marnie should be playing a roaming centre role for the Roosters?
He usually does in the back end of the years for the Roosters, but only when the Roosters are actually at their best, and they're nowhere near their best, so that won't happen. But he definitely should if the Roosters hit top gear. Yeah,
and we put a post out a couple of weeks ago, or it was last week actually, saying that would your club buy him for 1.1 million just to play fullback? And I think there'd be 14 clubs saying absolutely I would, because you just showed him on the weekend what he can do at centre. He's an absolute beast.
I 5'8", maybe not.
Yeah, I think you got to put him at fullback.
Fullback, definitely.
Yeah. The last one here, Macca says, if I have Cleary still, do I hold him now or trade him to some cash and buy him back? Also, what's a good number of trades right now? Well, Flats, you have 10 trades, don't you?
Yeah, I've got 10 trades now, but I might be doing a little 3 trades this weekend.
4-piece, 3-piece.
Yeah, 3-piece trade this weekend, so I can knock off Converse and Bents, and I need a win to get back in the 8. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty good amount. Like, all out, we have 6 trades left. and our team's looking pretty stacked at the moment. But the problem with us is that we have a few Oluwapus and Katoas and Nicarimas lying about. So,
But back to Cleary, honestly, I'd look to, if you don't have Hines, I'd go to Hines instead of Cleary. Because I reckon Cleary would get rested a fair bit after his injury as well. Just so they're looking after him going into the finals.
yeah, that's definitely an option for him. Or like the other thing that they could do is that he hasn't played footy at all, so they just warm him into it as well. So all good questions there in the Q&A. Have you got your multi prepared, mate, before we wrap it up? Or
Okay, I'm just going to go easy, two-legger. The Canberra Raiders to beat Gold Coast Titans and Warriors to beat the Rabbitohs. Book it now. What is this exactly playing? You really want to know, listeners? $3. Book it.
book it now. Yeah, make sure to use that discount code on the Bareback Biltong website, AOF15, for 15% off all the products. They do a fantastic job, and their products are elite. So make sure you use that. Any final words, mate, before we wrap it up?
Yeah, back on the Biltong. Seriously, if you haven't tried the Bareback Biltong, you're missing out on some proper good gear.
It's actually my go-to snack now.
Yeah.
Like I tried it a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, shit, this is elite. Yeah. Make sure you follow all the socials as well, and keep on keeping on. We'll see you next week.